I'm just getting the Trikeabout ready to start tearing apart to disassemble. I cut the length of the extra threads off there. I used my little Dremel with one of these cutting wheels right here. It worked really good to get that off. And now I'm just drilling out the fork, and I'm going to file a hole out to fit that shoulder. I got these little keyhole files, and I'm just going to file out the squares here, and that won't take very long. It was hard to drill. This metal must be a harder metal because that took a bit to drill through. But anyway, let me get it filed out, and we'll get all 4 of the bolts in place, and then pretty much I'll be ready to disassemble for grinding, cleaning up the welds, and getting it ready to paint. Yeah, and even this Dremel that I'm using, this is what it is. This is even a estate sale item. I paid a few dollars for it in an estate sale. Always whenever I see, a decent Dremel or something, because I go through them. I have a couple of Dremel brand Dremels and one with a big motor for big heavy doing stuff. And I got these that came with that. And then I have these. It says $100 and 30 value, but when I bought it, I paid 30 bucks. I think I got that new at Home Depot or Lowe's. One of the big box stores I got that at. And I'll tell you what, it's a handy kit to have. If you do a lot of things where you need, get the thing working here, to where you need to, it comes with buffing stuff, and if you need to, one of the little drums fall out, and put that one back. I think it comes with 2 different grits and 2 different sizes. It comes with, all these are 60 grit from here that way, and all these are 120 grit from that way. And I use them. I do use them. I love them. Dremel's a must if you do work like this, or any type of, even work on these, restoration work. Dremel is kind of a handy thing to have around. All right, let me get those holes filed out, and like I say, this thing will be pretty much all ready to disassemble for paint. I got a lot of grinding to do, so you'll see little excerpts as I go along, and I'm not, you don't want to hear a grinder run and see sparks flying for 3 or 4 days. I'm sure it's going to be a few days of grinding here alone. That's kind of what I was looking for, a nice fit right tight up against the fender without a screw head. There will be another one of these obviously right below it there. And I think I'm going to polish these up like chrome. I'm going to polish these up like chrome. These are going to be bare. These are going to be bare. Obviously the aluminum chrome look. I think I'm going to leave this chrome. The chrome on this little bezel's in really good shape, so I think I'm just going to buff it out and leave it chrome. This will be painted the cream. This will be cream, but this will be green in here, like I say, with that neat pattern. I'll leave a photo again in the video of that. There's a lot of you skip through the videos and you don't see everything. So anyway, we'll get that other one drilled in the other side. It wasn't really any big deal to file that out. It took me probably as much time to file that out as it did drill a hole, just using this little square keyhole file. It works pretty good. All right, let me get the rest done here. Just grinding out the welds on this. I'm not going to grind the welds in here because it's too hard to get up into there. And this side's looking pretty good, but I got to touch up some of the welds, like right there. There's a little pit in the weld, so I ground it out. So I'm going to touch that up, and a few other spots that might need a little touching up, and then we'll give it some more grinding, and then I'll put a coat of Duraglass on it and get it ready to start sanding out. I'll fit it to the trike before I start putting the Duraglass on, make sure it still fits, and then I'll Duraglass it and then fit it again after, just to make sure I don't mud in something that's going to cause it not to fit. Like right in here is going to have to pretty much will be free of mud because that's where the gas tank goes. But I might, just put some sandable primer in there just so it's not, you don't see the grind marks. There we go, kind of ready for filler. I didn't, like I say, didn't grind the weld up in there. It doesn't really matter. Not going to see any of this in here, so I'm not really going to finish any of that in there. So, you know, I might put a little film of Bondo on there, just fill some of those pits in the weld. But this is all welded solid. It's not anything through. You can see if I hold it up to the light, light doesn't shine through it. So that's all solid. So I'm gonna mix up some filler and start putting some filler on that, and then we'll do the throttle control one. I decided I was just gonna put some Bondo, some of this stuff on it, because there's really only little pits where the welds are and stuff, and like I say, there's nothing major to where it's going to be much more than 20 thousandths thick anywhere. So I'm just going to use that and save that, because that's ultra expensive for other places where I might need it. So let me I'm going to metal etch prime this. When I use that, I like on bare metal, I like to metal etch prime that. I'll put on bare metal. That bonds really well. That I find bonds better if you to bare metal if you metal etch. If you put it on this, put that on top of that, it's perfectly fine without primer. Yeah, as you can see, I got it down to the bare frame, and I was out grinding welds, and I had to add a little weld there, which I expected to do, and a little there and a little around there. So I'm gonna go do some more grinding, and then hopefully we can get this thing ready for body filler. I haven't even started on this yet, so I'll start working on that after I get this. And I got these covers, little filler on them. I just smeared some on the welds in there as I had a little extra mixed, and I'll give that a quickie sand so it looks a little nicer. But we're just gonna go to town here, get the thing ready for paint. Yeah, the welds ground out really nice. I gotta work them with a file. I gotta get up in here, whoops, and around in here with a file. But overall, I think it came out pretty darn good. And then I gotta sand everything out too. And I ground that because I'm going to put a little filler in here so you don't see any, so that looks like it's part of the frame. But still a lot of work to do, filing and sanding and a little filler here and there. And I'm going to cut out here for the exhaust and right here for the oil change. And then basically this will be ready to finish the body work. I got to straighten, bend this up a little bit here. No big deal. That'll be a project for tomorrow or whatever. But all I got to do after I cut that out, I got obviously sand all this, and I got to put a little filler on this. And these are the only things I got left. I got to finish welding these on and weld these up. And I'll just do this here at the bench. And I got to get this apart and grind that out. So we'll deal with that another day too, maybe tomorrow or the next day. But right now I want to get the frame completely cleaned up, and so I can start putting filler on it and let it dry overnight, and then I can start sanding it and get that ready for paint. That was the biggest part to work, and I spent maybe 3 hours all total. I spent about an hour grinding, then I spent another couple hours touching up welds and regrinding, touching up welds and regrinding. I did that several times. I started my pants on fire here and really burned my leg bad doing my welding. Yeah, so I smothered it with vitamin E. So anyway, let me get the plasma cutting. little cleaning up the edges there and be perfect. This is a time-consuming stuff. You gotta sit here and file out all these so they're nice and rounded out. I can't get the grinder in these spots, so I just got to do it with the file. So I'm going to spend a little while doing that, and hopefully then it'll be ready for some filler. I think it's pretty much all ready to start putting filler on. I got it all sanded out. I got to clean this up with some lacquer thinner. There's some oil there. The drain thing doesn't have any pipe thread tape or anything on it, so it seeped a little bit out right around here. Plus I oiled these so that would move freely, and I gotta clean all that oil out, and I'll wipe the thing down with lacquer thinner, and then I'll start putting some Duraglass on the areas that need it, like probably a little around here, you know, around all the welds, just to kind of fill the, you can see there's a little like a pit there, and just, you know, where I can't get with the grinder, and it just, you know, I just want it to look nice. So I straightened this out, so that all is nice and flat now, and everything's looking pretty good now. We're supposed to get some crummy weather Friday, so tomorrow I'm going to try and get this all ground out and that welded up and those welded, get everything ground, so when it's snowy and crummy out I can do the filler and stuff like that. I'm about to knock out these rivets that hold the rest of the fender on. You can see I made holes in 1/4-20 were the smallest I could find in decent carriage bolts that would work for here, and they'll look fine in there. And I'll have to shorten them up obviously, and I'll probably put a nylock or just a regular nut with some Loctite or something on it. But you can kind of see there's some holes, and I might tack that joint in a couple spots just to make sure it's spot welded, but just to make sure that there's no, I'll feel it out when I get it apart, see if there's any places that need you know, to tacks or anything to keep it from vibrating. And I'm going to grind these welds here today, and I made the this is the pattern for the fender, and I'm going to make that so that this is printed on vinyl and the black will be cut out, and then I'll just tape them, you know, just stick them on here, and that way I can paint the green over the cream. But anyway, let me get to work here. I got a handlebar to do some work on this. The weather's good today, so I can get some of this done, and then the weather's supposed to turn sour tomorrow. We're supposed to get 4 to 6 inches of snow, so I want to get as much of the grinding done because I'm doing that outdoors. So I'm going to take it outdoors and do as much of the outdoor stuff as I can, but I first want to get the fender off so I don't damage it. I got the fender off, and it has stamped holes in it that are already about 1/4 inch. I don't think I'll have to drill the fender out, just drill out, file out, and make for a square bolt there. You have to drill those out just a tad. The bolt just doesn't fit that side. Yeah, I have to just bore them out just a tiny wee bit. But there's the original color, kind of a metallic red. It's kind of a nice red, the original color. Anyway, just thought I'd show that. They have their frame ready for primer, so this is what I'm gonna just throw this in my door jam gun and give this a quick prime up so the fillers, any fillers I use on it, will adhere better. Well, let me turn it over and get it repositioned to paint the other side. I'm going to let that dry just a few seconds so it doesn't stick to the paper. I'm just going to put it over on the paper. Oh, I got to get a piece of tape. I can see one little spot where that wire goes that I don't want to get paint on. All right, we got that taped up. Trying to get this primed with the metal etch because they're predicting a bunch of snow, and I can put the body filler on it if it's primed up, because this will help make things stick. So I'm not going to put Marg glass on it everywhere. Yeah, you guys are getting the paint. I hope my camera doesn't get the paint on it. I'm not getting any overspray on me because it's blowing towards the camera. So it probably looks nuts, but it's really not. I think that I just ran out of paint, my paint gun, but I don't need to put the metal etch on it really thick. I think that's more than adequate. Oh, there's a little spot there. I'm not going to really be putting filler or anything in there, so I'm not going to worry about that, but that will do the job. Let it dry a couple seconds, take it inside, and let it dry overnight, and tomorrow I'll start putting the Mar glass or Bondo or whatever I need to wherever. Some of the bigger, you know, the areas where it'll be like, I doubt it'll be much more than a 30-second. I don't know, we'll see what we use. If you want to reuse your Bondo spreaders, just throw them in a coffee can of lacquer thinner. Make sure you cover the can up. This lid has a couple holes in it. I'll have to tape up so the thinner doesn't evaporate, but tomorrow those will be like brand new spreaders. The handlebars, I couldn't get the chrome off. I bead blasted and sanded and bead blasted, and I just zinc chromate primed it, but I'm gonna have to put a little body filler in these nicks and in those, and just kind of get that dressed up. I just put another coat on that because I wanted to paint the pipe, and that was the easiest way to do it, and painted the pipe on the engine too. These need a little bit more filler. There's a couple little spots to where just little nicks, but otherwise they're pretty much all, they look pretty darn good. I'll put a little coat on those nicks today, and then tomorrow, like I say, I'll let this dry overnight, and I'll get the Duraglass or whatever and go around and fill all the imperfections and take care of all that on the frame and the handlebars and the forks. I was surprised it didn't take as long as I thought to finish the welds, but I still got a lot of work ahead of me to get it paint ready. That's how nice and clean your Bondo spreaders get. You just soak them in lacquer thinner overnight, and then I just took it out and wiped it off with a paper towel and ready for some more filler. I threw all my Bondo spreaders that had Bondo in there, so I should probably wipe them all off. But as I, you know, when I dirty this one, I'll throw it in there and pull a different one out and wipe it off. But yeah, that saves buying them all the time. All right, I'm going to mix some of this up, and I'm going to hit some of the areas in the forks and some of the areas that need more filling. Like here, this tube is just slightly larger than that, so I want to feather it down so you don't really notice it. So I'm going to put a little Mar glass around there. Might put a little around this weld. I might just do that with Bondo because it's just very minor nicks and stuff you can see from the grinders and stuff. But we'll get it all, filler on everything. Oh, and we did, this video has taken me a week to do, and we did get snow the other day. We got about 3 inches, and they're predicting more snow. This is Saturday now, and they're predicting more Sunday night and a Monday morning. And so hopefully, and then next week, I think they're predicting some crummy weather. And we get we've been having our February and March, I think. March has been definitely colder and snowier than February. We've had more snow in March than we have had all winter. So hopefully we get a good day to where I can, in March, to where I can shoot some paint. I'm just mixing up a little bit at a time, so, I have time. And, I'm just going to put a dab of hardener in it, and then that way it'll give me time to play with it to try and get it to look as nice as possible without it going hard. And then I'll mix up more for the other bits. I just mix a little at a time so I can actually spend some time playing with working it in the, like I want to spend some time. And so I do as little sanding as possible. I hate sanding, so the less sanding the better. That's kind of what I'm doing with the Duraglass. And then I'll sand that out, and that'll probably be a little Bondo here and there just to fill any little pits or holes with the Duraglass. And I'm going to get the seat and the forks and that next. But yeah, my lacquer thinner, when I clean my gun or clean things, any of the old lacquer thinner, I never throw it away. That stuff's expensive. So I put the old lacquer thinner from cleaning my gun or carbs or whatever in that jug there. So that's like used dirty lacquer thinner or used lacquer thinner. And that's what I put in this coffee can with my things here to clean them of the filler. And yeah, like I say, I just pulled this one out and dropped the one in I just used. And even if I don't use this to spread, I can still use it to mix. This was all done with, and it's just about tacked up now to where you not going to be able to move it much anymore. The Duraglass has a little more working time than like that stuff, so that's what I like about it. And you can get it to where you don't have to sand as much. Just kind of smooth it out here and there. That looks good enough. Give that a sand out tomorrow. And in the meantime, I'm going to put some filler on this and the other things. There we go. I put a coat of filler, second coat on these where there was a few spots that needed a little extra. And I just did that. That didn't really need it, but it'll just make it that much nicer. And there was where the old original axle was welded, a couple of little marks. My Bondo started going hard there, so I had to hurry up and get it on, and it's kind of sloppy there, but all the stuff has filler on it now. I got this and around in these. That'll be easy to sand out. I'll probably just use a DA and go everything real quick and then do it by hand. Get the rough stuff down with the orbital. Yeah, I had to turn on the ventilator. This polyester stuff stinks. And I don't think it's good for you, so that's why I turned on the ventilator. I'm leaving all the original tricycle imperfections in it. It's just the way it is. I'm not gonna, that's the way it's just brazed on there, and that's the way it was built, so that's the way it's staying. But I think it's getting closer and closer to being ready for paint. I think this video is getting long. It's probably getting to be about a half an hour, and so I might end this one here so you can see what I'm doing, and then we'll pick up the next video. We'll be getting this all sanded out and some paint on it, hopefully within the next, I gotta wait for good weather because I'm going to take this outside and sand it so I don't get all the sanding dust in here. I just sit out on my back patio there behind the garage in the chair and just sit there and sand. It's kind of relaxing if it's a nice sunny day sitting out there in the sun and the crocus are in bloom, and it's just I just enjoy sitting out there and doing that kind of stuff. So we'll get this sanded out the next nice day we get. I think tomorrow's supposed to be crummy, so it might be a day or two. And then we'll be playing the waiting game with the weather in my spray booth. So anyway, I'm going to end the video here so you can totally see what's going on. If you like the video, definitely hit the like button. It certainly helps me get more views and make a little bit more money for projects like this. If you like my channel, you can hit that 348 engine icon that pops up there. That will subscribe you. And thank you for watching my video.